All right. Well, I did not know about the dedication, and had I known, I would have not unloaded those boxes. I'd have burned them. But I am very gratified for that. and I've got to tell you that in 2017, when I decided I really didn't want more of the administrative role, and it didn't want any more of me, too, either. I mean, it was mutual. But coming back to work with Ray and Chris was absolutely a joy, just like it was with Gary Lacefield. They have to make room for you, folks. You know, they've got their things that they do really, really well, right? And so they made room and allowed me, to get back and get warmed up and make a few mistakes. And they've been very gracious, as you can tell. But tonight, they have given me the chance, second only to talking about my grandkids, the most fun topic they could have asked me to talk about. I'm fixing to give it to you, all right? So I want to talk about a little bit about, make sure I don't squeal. I think I can do this. Oh, I do. They're on the back panel, and you can just touch it once and then keep hitting the down arrow in the middle, Caroline. Touch it once and then down arrow in the middle. Not too low. That turkey and gravy is going to put me to sleep. That's pretty well, that's good. That's good. All right. So, I fully realize what time it is. Do you know what time my bedtime is? 8 o'clock. So this will not be long. All right. Thank you for the chance to do this too, guys. I appreciate this. This is where it started. 1972, this steer and one other one paid for my darkroom equipment. And I had taken a graphics arts class, and I had a pinhole camera, and I saw my first black and white picture come up in the developing tray, and I was hooked. And my dad, I think mainly just to get me off his case or just get me out of his hair, gave me this little brownie Kodak camera, and I was off. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about the beauty of forages and how to capture it. When it looks like this, right? It's not rocket science, right? To capture the beauty of our state, your state, the things that we saw today. Oh my gosh, the farm we were on, it's beautiful. And I told Ray the sun came out and the clouds were wonderful. And as you'll see, I like clouds, right? But it's not hard to be inspired to try to take good images. But what I want to do tonight is mainly tell you about some of the themes that I enjoy photographing and a little bit more about me and my family and why we do what we do. Now, this is what my wife would ask me. Do you Photoshop your pictures, right? Well, yes, I do, okay? Now, before you get up and go away, let me tell you why. This is what one of my favorite pictures looks like straight out of the camera, right? Nice clouds. I think those are horses, or somebody in mask, a Batman mask, right? But this is what I saw, right? So the processing program allows me to make it look like what you see. But do I take people out of pictures? No. Do I put the other clouds in the sky? No. All I want to do is to capture what I saw and to make it clear, okay? Now, this is a pub that Gary Lacefield and I worked on back in the 1900s, as I tell my class. And it was driven because I'm not a botanist, and I can prove it, okay? And I find it difficult you can't tell me, go find the ligule. Is it more than 2 millimeters or less, right? Well, I wasn't sure. And so I started, and capturing and going to photographs or drawings is abysmal. I mean, they're just a lot of mediocre at least they didn't teach me anything, right? So, boom, I want to do this, and I started trying to do it. Now, what is this? Crimson clover. I mean, just beautiful crimson clover. This is a picture I got in Taylor County, and I like it. It's overcast, and most time you think, it's not going to be good. Overcast is actually can be really good, but the dew was on it and the blooms were red, and it excited me, right? But you can tell it's crimson clover. What is that? Sunflower. The amazing thing about looking at the plants that we take for granted is, look at the middle of the bloom of the flower. That is the most unusual structure. It is a very unusual structure, to be more exact. Now that was at our grazing plots at a grazing school, and I thought, wow, man, that's beautiful. The texture, you know. Now, why is it beautiful? A couple of things, and you'll see this several times. The background, I found, you know, there was black shadow behind it, which really makes the image stand out, right? The light is also actually from behind a little bit. You can see, here we go, right here. You can see how those hairs are lit up. And there's a lot of pictures in here of close-ups that are side lit or and in front of something dark. And if Mother Nature didn't give it to me, I put something there, and I'll tell you more about that. Now, what is this? Chicory, right? But a beautiful bloom of chicory and a pollinator, you know. But same thing. It's lit from the side and something dark behind it. Oats. This is my favorite picture of any small grain ever, right? And actually this one is on the wall of our building now, about 30 inches by 40. And I just love the way that it looks. But there's supplemental light, and behind it is a black fleece thing so that I can make the background go away, okay? Wheat. Another one that's backlit. Sun's actually coming this way, it's coming up, but that's a close-up of it, and it really makes it where you can see all of the texture of the forage. Okay, moving on. What is this? Chicory, absolutely. Chicory. On an overcast day, but we get to work with crops that have this beautiful kind of pastoral, soothing look to them. And I even zoomed in like this. I just love this picture, and it also was in the grazing calendar. What's this? Johnson grass, right? But what I liked about this was there are a blue bazillion pictures of Johnson grass but have you ever tried to take a picture of something green in a green field and make people know what it is? It is doggone hard, but with the sun behind it, and that's woods, right? So you didn't have any problem knowing that was Johnson grass. What is this? You really get what A if you could guess this. What? Down in the bottom is alfalfa. This actually is dying Johnson grass that was sprayed with post, right? But it was lit from the side. It was almost sunset at a field day, Gary, and we spend a lot of times, Matt, at field days chilling and waiting for the wagon, right? So that's my stop, right? But I kept the picture, so I like it. What's this? Turkey foot, big blue stem, right? Now, there are blue bazillion pictures of it too, but I happened to be on a farm in Clay County where there were some plants at the fringe of the field that the sun was lighting up, right? And so I could get them to be the main thing and let the rest of the field kind of just disappear, out of focus. And so it's big blue stem. Plus I love taking pictures in the morning or the evening because of the warmth that it gives it, right? Let's go. Okay, this is not so pretty, right? But if you're trying to figure out and tell somebody what the stem of big blue stem looks like, you can put something. Now, this is my rudimentary way before I got my piece of black fleece, right? That's what I would put behind there. That's a lens cap, Alan, right? So that I could tell them that's what that looks like, right? All right, moving on. That's another picture of big blue stem, and it's very pleasing. But I think it also describes, you would be able to go and compare that to what you would find in the field and maybe find out if you had it. What is this? Indian grass. Holy cow. I love taking pictures of Indian grass blooms, because they just like this. They are beautiful, especially in the fall at sunset or sunrise, and finding something dark to put behind it. What is this? Also Indian grass. That's the feature that people would point to and say, it's the split ligule, And I'm thinking, no, I don't know, So I got the picture. Now I know. And it's also in AGR 175, which is back there on the counter, and there are plenty of copies. So take them home. And then I'm going to move to cool season stuff. This is a very overused picture of mine. Red clover and grass, right? Really pretty. Red clover and butterfly is really pretty. But have you ever looked at red clover like that? Right? That is wild. And that is also, of course, red clover. And it also helps people to identify it when they see it. Now, this is also side lit, so you can see the hairs and something dark behind it. Okay? Now, look at this picture. This is a red clover bloom taken so that the bloom is kind of some of the bloom is in focus, and the rest of the picture is out of focus. That's just the way that I took it. Now look at this one. Well, there you go. Same, it's actually just part of that picture. And it's also on the wall in our building. And I love that picture because you'd have no idea, looking at it, what it was. All right, what's this? Alfalfa, Gary's favorite crop, right? Now, if you take a picture of alfalfa, we got a lot like this, right? That's beautiful, love it, use it. But if you want to really describe it to somebody or have a picture that captures what it looks like, you kind of got to get down sideways, right? And I took this one, I wasn't pleased with it, and so this is Clayton Gerald's alfalfa, those of you that know Clayton. Then I got way down on my belly at the edge of the field, found a good straight plant, put a flash down here at the bottom on a bright blue sky day, and took this picture. And to me, that communicates what alfalfa is, right? And I like the way it looks. Now, Ray and Chris wanted me to take a picture, and so we could talk about what the bloom or the bud stage of alfalfa was. So, like saying sick 'em to a dog, we would say in Georgia. I went out to the farm and I'm on it, right? So I've got this picture and I'm working on it, and I included it because, see this right over here? That actually is a flash hooked up electronically to my camera to the side and below to create this, the lighting so you can tell what it is. And I've also got my big fleece in the back of my CRV over the back seat. This is stuck down in a pot of sand, right, to hold it still and straight up. And then I'm shooting away like a crazy man. And this is the final result. I mean, when you see this, then you can tell people this is what it looks like. And one of my favorite pictures, dew on the alfalfa early in the morning. Okay, close-ups. Pat Kaiser from University of Tennessee contacted me in the beginning of the COVID year and said, I need to get some really good pictures of native warm season grasses in the seedling stage. Well, that's not easy, but I said, I'll give it a shot. All right, so this is the setup. Now, before I had my big piece of fleece, this is a black scarf. What do you call it? Scarf, I guess. Fleece, right? So it's sitting over a box. My little plant of, I don't even remember what that is sitting there. That's the flash unit I'm using to light it up from the side. And with the picture for scale. Oh, and by the way, when the book was printed by UT and their people, And I'm sending them pictures that have that on it. Guess what didn't make the book? Any of the UK Ag logo. They got rid of that. But this setup gave me that photograph, okay? And you can't see it, but you can see hairs along the stem. I'm not very good with seedling grasses, but that's a clear picture of what it was. And another one. Oh, this one. The greenhouse, I was taking pictures of clover plants for my class because I wanted them to know what the unifoliate leaf looked like, okay? Which is a very broadening concept to an undergrad who knows it's a trifoliate. So when I'd ask them what comes out after the seed leaf, oh, it's a trifoliate. Thinking wrong answer, right? But what does it look like? So I'm there to take a picture of it. And they had just finished irrigating, the overhead sprinklers. And I had my flash and everything, and I'm there to take pictures. And I got this picture. Wow, I love it because look at it. You can see the water and the hairs, so you know it's red clover. And there's the unifoliate leaf. What's this? Yes, Andropogon virginicus, broom sedge, right? But if you try to take a picture of broom sedge, how do you make it look like broom sedge, right? This is one way. This is big blue stem, and this idea of teaching my class that this is the region of the leaf you need to be looking at to identify it, so they can say, okay, I got you. And by the way, they did see that on a test too. And big blue stem seed heads, another Indian grass seed head, little blue stem, purple top. Okay, now forage landscapes. I'm fortunate to live really close to this farm, and they are very kind to let me come whenever I want to come to take a picture. And when the morning sunrise looks like this, you can take a very exciting picture. That same farm, the clouds are interesting. The horses on the top of the hill are interesting, and they're curious. These are the mares, and they're coming right at me, right? So I'm taking pictures as hard and as fast as I can while they're walking towards me. Oh, and if you want to take pictures of horses, here's one thing I have learned. If they are doing something you want to capture, you better shoot the picture. They don't stand still for nothing. They don't stay there ever, right? Now this was at the Loretta Mother House Farm outside of Maker's Mark, outside of Loretta. And it was a beautiful morning, tremendously blue skies, okay? When we were getting ready for the field day, and I saw this rotary hay rake, and I thought, dang it, that don't look like sunflowers to me, right? So I took that picture, and so I like it. Then I got around, and I was still fascinated by, those things, and then the sky, and so I took this picture. And if you're making pictures of the haymaking process, you've seen bazillions of them, and there's some really good ones. But this one I like a lot. I got clouds. See that? Got clouds. But it's also at the machine is at the top of the hill, so that's all that you see, right? That's all you see. And plus, you're looking. Everything about that picture leads you to right there, right? Leads you right into it. Now, I'm going to show you some landscape pictures. Again, these are from the same farm as that I go to a lot. Early morning, the rolling landscape, the fog. This one is Clayton Gerald's farm. We had a board meeting there, KFGC. And what I liked about it was, of course, this is beautiful. And his alfalfa was gorgeous, right? But the clouds were moving by really fast and leaving that shadow on them. And I thought that was good. This is my fine, firm seedbed picture, right? When I try to tell people what that looks like. But the idea, it curves around. It's also early morning shot, so you get that light from the side, so you can see the grooves, right? That's very important. And this, Gabriel seeded this. Gabriel is raised technician. This is a novel endophyte tall fescue field. It is the best establishment of a horse pasture I have ever seen. Now, if you're going to shoot this, okay. If you're going to take a picture of grass, let's face it, grass is grass, okay? And it's beautiful, but how do you make it look like your eye sees it? Well, I'm a big fan of panoramic pictures. And so I stitched together, actually, in Photoshop, 3 pictures side to side, and that show from fence gate to fence gate, fence post to fence post, and then this beautiful green rolling pasture, right? You get a sense of what it is and the scale of it, and I think it conveys, and it certainly says that Gabriel did a heck of a job with that. Another early morning fog scene. Same farm around the corner, looking down at that. Again, another panorama. Another panorama, same farm. Gene Olson in the harvester, forage harvesting, which can be rather repetitive, right? But I was leaving the farm one day, and this was what was going on the ridge, parallel to the road out, leaving the farm, right? And it just, to me, it says, okay, you know that small plot work, and you can almost see the stuff, the harvester moving. Okay? All right. Yeah, thank you. I'll take a break. Anybody got a question? You good? All right. We're more than halfway home, so hang on. Now another panoramic shot, a beautiful farm, cattle, some fog. Now, but I want to tell you a couple of things. Sometimes you think you're going to get a picture, and I was going to get that picture, right? I'd been by that barn, that farm, that place, and I was going back to get that picture. And I'm okay with that, right? But as I was tearing down and I turned 90 degrees, that was what I saw, right? So wheel the camera around. It's on a tripod, take the picture, hoping I get it. And so that is not infinitely better, but certainly special, to go along with this one. Okay, this one. Now, this is another one of those, when this happens, right? In fact, traffic was stopping on the road to take this picture, right? Because it was that special. But true story, I had seen that barn. It's on the top of the ridge. You could see right through the barn most of the time. And so I thought, when the sky gets right, I'm going back to that place. And the sky got right. For me and about 50 other people on the fence taking these pictures, okay? Now, this is not a forage picture, right? But it's a picture. I was out to take pictures of horses and whatever was happening. But the sun was coming up, and a lot of times it's before the sun comes up that really you get some of the special pictures. So the sun comes up, then you got to figure out, what am I going to do with the sun, right? Well, there was a gate. So I put that rascal right in the middle of the gate, right, and kept taking pictures. And that was the result. This one, I'm going to a meeting, and it was early in the morning, and the sky was just unreal. And I'm begging for God for a barn to put in front of that sky. Right? Finally, at a crossroads, I look back over my shoulder, and boom, there's the barn. I hope that's not your barn, because I probably trespassed, right? But I drove into the driveway and took the picture. And another one of the barn that we had with the sun, with the red sky, this time with the winding road and the pleasant sky. Okay, cattle. This one Chris should know. This is Princeton in July, hotter than you know what, turning these cows into this fresh sorghum Sudan, and it was a verbal or audible experience. They are ripping through that stuff, and it was amazing. But they were tame enough that we could get close enough to make that an interesting picture. Then this is a Caroline's calf. We were on a field day. The calf is sitting over there, basically saying, I'm cool, right? I'm cool. I took 300 pictures to get this because I wanted a picture of the tongue wrapping around forage, right? So that's why you're looking at that. But if you're going to try to say I'm grazing high quality forage, well, one good way to say it is I got a big old honking piece of alfalfa across the nose of this heifer, right? And her nose is down in it, and she's fixing to do business with it. And then down low with these cows. Okay, and this is Princeton. One of the things about this that gives it effect is this is a really, really wide angle lens. Sunrise picture, wonderful grass, good cattle, and then the electric fence. And no, Gallagher didn't pay me for that picture. I'd be okay if they did, but they didn't. All right, now horses, okay? Horses. Horses in central Kentucky are just amazing. Horses in general are amazing. My dad grew up in Oklahoma literally on a horse, roping cattle and branding cattle in the Western sense, right? And so horses is something we love. This is a picture you've seen already before. This is a springtime Kentucky horse picture. More white clover. The interesting thing about that, the white clover hides the fact this is a rotten pasture, right? But the next thing that's coming after the white clover is ragweed. Then horses silhouetted somewhat up against the sky. There were more clouds, more of the same, okay? And then an early morning shot. And then one of my faves, this mare. Now I was laying in the snow, and the mare was not happy about me doing that because her foal was close by, and her tail is sticking straight out. She's still not happy, right? But she's running around. But anyway, that was fun. And then another picture from that same farm with the kind of sky that you wouldn't have to have a lot of help making a good picture. Now I want to end up really quickly with two thoughts. Number one, a little bit about my story and the land grant system. Okay, now this is a sunrise picture of a windmill and some weedy stuff, right, in Oklahoma on my grandparents' farm. Used to be a dairy farm, and it hasn't been one for a long time, right? That windmill pumped water into a trough for the cattle, but it also fed the garden that fed my family, my grandparents' family, through the Depression, okay? So more of that. And what's underneath all that? Weeds when they graze it right. Big blue stem and wild sunflowers. But the land grant system in my family, Redding, Oklahoma, which is the metropolis that this farm is close to, population 200 right now, not big enough for a square. On the 4th of July in 1953, my dad was standing there watching the parade. I can't imagine what they had enough stuff to have a parade, but they had a parade. And the superintendent of schools asked him, "Where are you going to college?" And my dad's, "Oh no, we can't." He was the oldest son of a sharecropper. They had no money. They lived in a sod house at one point. And he said, "Oh, I can't go to college, don't have any money, but I've got a full-time job," which at the time was a big thing, right? And this John Roberts said, "No, let me see about that." And he was going to a meeting at the A&M school in the Panhandle. When he came back home, my dad had a job. He had to have a job because he had no money. And they agreed to take the tuition and fees out of the money that he earned at the job that they gave him, right? And because my dad got a chance to go to college, his 4 siblings went to college. And to date, there are 17 advanced degrees in our family because John Roberts knew, like we know, that our system has something to offer, and he got my dad to college. And because of that, good things have happened, right? So That's my family story. But then I want to end this. The whole reason why I get to go around and take pictures and I get to try to communicate some of the beauty that we see is we are here to serve the greatest people in the world, in my opinion, the American farmer. And there is no higher calling. Like this is some of the clients that I handed an NIR analysis to in the 1980s, and they handed it back to me and they said, is it any good? I thought I was done when I gave them the paper, right? I hadn't started yet, right? But the producers, for this green guy, educated me about what the questions were, right? People like Russell Hackley, who's from close to here, who's now passed away much too early. That is a great stand of endophyte-free fescue and red clover. And when Russell called you, you were usually going to, go away limping from the phone call because he had a question and he had a point to make, and he loved you though. He was a great friend to our college, but yet challenged us for better answers. Here's a couple of guys that challenge us for better answers. John Bell on the left from the Elmwood Stock Farms, Todd Clark on the right. Either one of those, when they call you, you're going to be there a while. You're going to have to go look it up or call a smart person because they are thinking about forage crops. And then the last picture I want to put up, and he's a friend of mine for a long time, but to me this looks like the quintessential American farmer, right? This individual, helped load hay that went to North Carolina. They are in general, and I would say this with or without farmers in the room, farmers are the most giving people I have ever met. And to be able, in our jobs, public service jobs, to work for them is, frankly, the highest calling. So, thank you for letting me show you my greatest hits, okay? Thank you, Ray.
Can we ask a question or two? Can we?
Sure, oh sure.
So that was very impressive, both the photos themselves, but also Jimmy's explanation. But when I see that, Jimmy, I just say I give up, because all I have is a cell phone. So I can't take pictures.
No.
Is that true?
No, you can, well, in fact, I was asked to do a seminar several years ago, and I decided that I didn't want to get into the weeds and talk about what the best camera was, because frankly, the best camera is the one you have with you, okay? So I did it, and the title of the seminar is, Everything I Need to Do in Photography I Can Do with My Smartphone. And so, no, you can do tons with the smartphone. Yeah.
But we just have to take the picture.
Yeah, be there. That's right.
Any other questions for Jimmy? Yeah.
Thank you all.
Jimmy, you
Oh, I got a question. It's a bridge. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I use bridge, which is basically, brighten it up and things like that. It's not full-blown Photoshop where you're trying to replace somebody's head, right? It's right, but my wife, she would want me to tell you that she tells me I cannot Photoshop things. So there you go. What's that? It's editing, exactly right. Your phone, your camera does it too. To make the JPEGs that they put out, it edits it too. So, anyway. All right. You've been very gracious. Thank you for letting me do that.
Sorry, Jimmy, you can't get away yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I go to bed early, so early mornings work better, right? Unless it's close to my house, right? The barn with that you could see the light through, it's about a mile from my house, so I can get out, take the picture, and go back to bed, right? But one or the other. And there's some places, if you're going to get, I'm trying to get a tobacco barn, and the one I want, the only way I'm going to get it is to be out there at sunset, right? Because sunrise, the wrong side of the barn is lit up. So.
Is
True enough, but at this time of year with the blue skies, it's almost the same, unless you're finding dew or something. And no, it's almost the same, but every scene is different. Yeah. Anyway, are you all done all through? Today I wanted to Alan and I were like competing for the same spot. So I told him, if you copyrighted this spot, I want to take pictures from here too. So we were following each other all day. So anyway, thank you, Ray.